For number 15 on the study guide, it's asking us to determine what the scale factor is going to be for that dilation. So in order to do that, the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out which of the two figures is your pre-image and the image. So we need to know where we're starting. So I'm looking for the vertices that do not have primes, which is going to be this smaller figure. I can see that it's smaller, and I can also see, because it's smaller, that it'll be getting larger, meaning this is an enlargement. If this dilation is an enlargement, that tells me that my scale factor has to be greater than 1. So that already rules out B and D. 1 is not greater than 1, 1 is equal to 1, and 0 is less than 1. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the distance of QK and the distance of Q prime, K prime. So QK has a distance of 1, and Q prime, K prime has a distance of 2. So if you don't remember that you always put the image over the pre-image, if you remember that, then you can say, let me scoot this over a little bit, that my pre-image is 1 and my image is 2, so I get 2 over 1. If you don't remember that, but you know that it's an enlargement, you have your two numbers, and you can say that if it's an enlargement, I know that K must be greater than 1. So if I did 1 over 2, that'd be 1/2, which is less than 1, which will not work out. So it must be 2 over 1. So my scale factor is 2. For number 16, it's asking us again for the scale factor, so I need to figure out which of the two figures is my pre-image and my image. So my pre-image is going to be the one that does not have the primes, which is the larger one. That means if I start here and I shrink down, that is going to be a reduction. And reductions have a scale factor that is less than 1. So I'm going to compare side lengths. So I'm going to compare CM and C prime, N prime. CN has a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, and C prime, N prime has a distance of 2. If I know that my scale factor must be less than 1, that already takes off A and B. You also can't have a scale factor of 0, so really by the process of elimination, without even finding those side lengths, can tell us that the answer will be C. But we're always going to do the image over the pre-image. So I would have 2 over 4 or 1/2, which is 0.5. If I had instead accidentally done 4 over 2, that would be 2, which means my scale factor would be 2, which is not less than 1. So that would not work. For number 17, we're finding the scale factor again. So I need to figure out which one is my image and pre-image. My pre-image will not have the primes on it, so it's the larger, and it will be shrinking down. So this is going to be a reduction, which means that my scale factor is less than 1. If my scale factor is less than 1, that takes off A and C. Then from there, I need to compare my lengths. I'll compare AH. I'm always choosing the flat side to compare with, because I don't want to try to use the distance formula. That seems like too much work. If it's either vertical or horizontal, you can just count. So AH is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And A prime, H prime is 1.5, it looks like. 1.5. So then from there, what you can do is, again, we're going to do the image over the pre-image, or if we're doing a reduction, that means a smaller number has to be on top, so I can do 1.5 over 5. That's when I'll bring my calculator in, and I can do 1.5 over 5, which gives me 0.3. 0.25 is the closest to 3. The reason I thought this was 1.5, it might have been 1 1/4, so that would have changed it a little bit. So I estimated, and then I chose the answer that was closest to it. For number 18, we are going to see that my pre-image is the larger figure and the image is the smaller figure. So this is also going to be a reduction where my scale factor will have to be less than 1. For the scale factor to be less than 1, that takes off options B and D. So now I can compare the flat side. I could either use ND and N prime D prime or NB. I'll use NB, which has a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can just count it. And N prime B prime, which has a distance of, it looks like about 1 and not even a half, but maybe a quarter. So if this is a reduction, then I need to do my smaller number on top so that it's less than 1. 1.25 over 5. 1.25 over 5 gives me 0.25, which is A.